In the golden dawn of early Islam, when courage was tested and faith was still young, there stood a woman whose bravery still echoes across centuries. Her name was Nusaybah Bint Ka'b, known lovingly as Umm Ammarah, the warrior woman of Islam. She was not a queen. She held no sword for glory, but when the Prophet of Allah was in danger, she became a shield that no army could break. This is her story, a story of faith, fire, and unshakable devotion. In the tribe of Bani Najjar, the same clan as the Prophet's own grandfather. Before Islam reached her city, she was already known for her wisdom, strength, and independence. She was married to Zayd ibn Asim and had two sons, Abdullah and Habib. When the first Muslims from Medina came to pledge allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad, during the second pledge of Al-Aqaba, Nusaybah was one of only two women who stood among 72 men that night. She raised her hand and pledged, "We will protect you as we protect our own families." That moment marked her entry into the heart of Islamic history. A year after the Battle of Badr, the Quraysh army returned to seek revenge. The Prophet and his companions prepared for war. Nusaybah didn't come to fight. She came as a nurse, carrying water and tending to the wounded. But destiny had other plans. At first, the Muslims had the upper hand. The Quraysh began to flee. But when the archers on the hill disobeyed orders and left their positions, the enemy's cavalry attacked from behind. Panic spread. Many fled the battlefield. Only a few remained around the Prophet, and one of them was Nusaybah Bint Ka'b. When she saw arrows flying toward the messenger of Allah, she grabbed a sword from a fallen soldier and a shield from another. Then she stood in front of the Prophet like a wall of iron. The Prophet saw her fighting fiercely and said, "From wherever I turned, to the right or to the left, I saw Umm Ammarah fighting to defend me." She fought bravely against warriors twice her size. Her son Abdullah stood beside her, fighting shoulder to shoulder. When he was injured, the Prophet called for him to be treated. Nusaybah bound his wound quickly and said, "Get up, my son, and go fight those enemies again." Her spirit burned brighter than any torch. She received 12 deep wounds that day, one on her shoulder so severe that the Prophet personally sent someone to treat it. Even as blood poured from her arms, she refused to leave his side. At one moment, an enemy horseman charged directly toward the Prophet. Nusaybah leapt forward, struck the horse, and brought him down. The Prophet raised his voice and prayed for her. "O Allah, make them my companions in paradise." Imagine that, the Prophet of Allah making dua for you on the battlefield. After the battle, Nusaybah was treated for her wounds. She carried her scars with pride, marks of faith, not of pain. Years later, she continued to serve Islam not with the sword, but with steadfast devotion. Her son Habib ibn Zayd was captured by Musaylimah the liar, a man who falsely claimed prophethood. Musaylimah ordered Habib to renounce Islam, but Habib refused again and again until Musaylimah executed him brutally. When Nusaybah heard of her son's death, she didn't collapse. She raised her hands and said, "All praise be to Allah who honored my son with martyrdom." Then she joined the Battle of Al-Yamamah with Khalid ibn al-Walid's army, an elderly woman still carrying a sword. But even that didn't break her. Nusaybah Bint Ka'b wasn't a soldier by profession. She was a wife, a mother, a believer, but when faith called, she answered louder than the men around her. She proved that courage has no gender, that devotion has no limits, and that faith, when rooted deeply, can turn even the gentlest soul into a warrior for truth. Her story still teaches us today that strength is not in the sword, but in the heart that wields it. When you stand for what's right, when you defend truth even when it's unpopular, you walk the same path that Umm Ammarah walked on the fields of Uhud. Centuries later, her name still lives. Nusaybah Bint Ka'b, the woman who stood like a wall when others ran, the mother who gave her son to martyrdom, and the believer who earned the Prophet's prayer for paradise. May Allah be pleased with her, and may her courage inspire us all to defend truth, faith, and justice in our own lives.